When we made Aliyah, we came with 3 small children plus 3-month-old triplets. So it was, as soon as we landed and came out of the airport, Rav Lafyan was there to greet us with one of his little children and a bag of chocolate for each of our children and cold water bottles, welcoming us home. We took a van from the airport to Biebna, and as soon as the van pulled in, families came to greet us, to help us unpack, to scoop up the children. When we got into the house, there was hot dinner on the table from a family we didn't even know. The freezer had shlukim. That's the day we learned the word shluk. There was cheese in the refrigerator, fruits and vegetables, making us feel at home.
When people would bring the pastries and cakes and pizza and dinner, so every note that they would leave ended the same way, Mishpacha Biebna. Each family here would sign from everybody, and that's really how we feel since we came, that we've joined Mishpacha Biebna.
We know the Talmidim, the students, are far away, and we try to be, as much as we can, the father figure, the mother figure, in terms of teaching on campus, in terms of having them in outside the base medrash activities, and they know that a Rebbe is always there for them. They always could WhatsApp, Yomam Valayla, halachic questions, hashkafic questions, and a Rebbe is there for life. There's no such thing as a former Talmud.
When you talk about Biebna, you don't just talk about a home. It's small. A home can mean so many things. It can be very shallow. I call it the womb. It's where you're nurtured and formed. It's where your values, your feelings, your personality is developed. And thank God, somehow I feel their umbilical cord is still intact, and we're constant nurturing back and forth. It's a beautiful situation.
כשאומרים על כרם ביבנה שהיא בית, למה מתכוונים? מתכוונים שזה 4 קירות ותקרה? לא. מתכוונים לבית, למקום שהוא המקום שלי. לכל אחד ואחד יש מקום בבית. בבית גרים הורים, גרים ילדים, מתארחים אורחים, ולכל אחד זה הבית המיוחד שלו. ואולי זה אחד הדברים המיוחדים בכרם ביבנה, שלכל אחד ואחד, לכל תלמיד, לכל בוגר, יש את הבית שלו, יש את הצורה שבה הוא חווה את הבית, יש את הצורה שבה הוא אוהב את הבית שלו. והישיבה היא משמשת בית גדול, היא בית גדול שיש בו מקום להרבה אנשים, להרבה גוונים, שכולם מכוונים למטרה אחת, הגדלת תורה ועבודת השם.
אנחנו בישיבת כרם ביבנה משתדלים בכל כוחנו לשלב את שני הדברים האלה. שבית המדרש יהיה בית של השם, שיהיה בית שישמע בו הלכה ותורה בקול גדול, כל השנה, קול של עיון, קול של עמקות, בכל מרחבי התלמוד. אבל גם שיהיה בית של חכמים, בית דרבנן, בית שכל אחד ירגיש שהוא נמצא בבית, בחדר הפרטי שלו, במתחם האישי והפרטי שלו, שהוא יכול לעשות בו משהו חפץ. ואנחנו רוצים שכל תלמיד ותלמיד ירגיש באמת את התחושה הזו, וכך יבוא שכרנו.
So one of the things people always ask is, Sydney's pretty far away. How are your parents dealing with it? How are you dealing with it to be so far away from home? And my response always is, I have a home. And that's Kerem Biebna. And it's not just a place where I come to do laundry and I come to get food and stuff like that. It's where I have a family. So you have people that are actually asking about how you're doing, really caring about you. It's where you have friends. It's where you have a space to come home to. And that's something that I think is good for me, and it's what comforts my parents.
When I was still in high school, my brothers used to take me for Shabbat. Where would I go for Shabbat with my brothers to hang out? In Kerem Biebna. So Kerem Biebna is really a home for the students, and it becomes something embedded for the rest of your life. It's something that goes with you wherever you go. If you're in law school, or if in your current position, if you're in a business meeting, and suddenly somebody mentions something, you see you're thinking like a KBYer.
Every single year, between 80 to 100 guys come, and they leave their families. They leave their families to take advantage of what we have to offer here in Yeshiva. And they leave their homes, they leave their families. Who's going to provide them that warmth? Who's going to provide them all of that love and care that they require? That's our job. And Baruch Hashem, with the tremendous tzevet and staff that we have here and community that we have here, we're able to provide that beautiful family dynamic and that warmth that they're missing from being away from home.
Quarantine, state of emergency, shelter in place. The story of the coronavirus changes by the hour.
Hundreds dead, thousands infected across multiple continents.
אנחנו בעיצומה של מגפה עולמית.
There's a lot to keep track of, and it's unclear where we go from here.
When Corona started, there was a lot of uncertainty. All my friends in other yeshivas were booking their flights back home to America. They didn't know what to do. And really all of us were like that. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to be in yeshiva for the future. We didn't know if we were able to come back. And from the beginning, the yeshiva had a meeting with us. And they said, look, if you guys go home now, we don't know that you're going to be able to come back to yeshiva. And yeshiva, we want you to be able to come back for after Nisan, for Kayetzman. And if you go back, we don't know you could return. So they said, look, from the beginning, everybody is welcome to stay. Yeshiva is going to be open for Bein Hazmanim, even though it normally isn't. But even once they were open, there were really two different ways that they could have approached it. They could have said, look, really, you're not supposed to be here for Bein Hazmanim. You're not supposed to be here during the break, and so we'll let you stay, but we're not going to really give you much. And the yeshiva was completely different. They made it like home. It was really, Pesach was like at home. Bein Hazmanim was like at home. They treated us amazing. And it wasn't only, for sure regarding Corona, where everybody else was stuck at home and we had davening with minyanim, we were with our friends. But even not for Corona, they just treated us amazing. They treated us like we were on a Pesach program. Our Siddharim were beautiful, the food was amazing, and just like every aspect of our stay in yeshiva, they really worried to make things work out well for us.
At KBY, we have always been like a home. In the Corona time, we continued as we always did. We told our students they could stay, that we will take care of everything for them. We worked with the Ministry of Health guidelines, and in 24 hours, we found a company to build hundreds of meters of mechitzot from PVC to make sure all our students will stay in their capsule. We did everything to prepare the yeshiva so that our students could continue to learn Torah. As we say, kosher lemehadrin.
I see him for over 100 boys via Zoom. Besides that, they had some treats, they had some prominent Rabbanan, and one of them including was Rabbi Asher Weiss, Shlita in Eretz Yisrael, who actually gave Divrei Chizuk, and he spoke via Zoom. And one of the things he said was basically said, this is a time never before in history where all the yeshivas are closed. I mean, never happened before. And suddenly I get a message, not KBY. So listen, I wasn't over there, and I'm sure everything was Kedas V'Din, but I have to tell you that as a Bulgarian Keren B'Yavneh, I was in my heart, that was really something special, to see and hear. That was really beautiful, and they've continued to learn, and now there's a lot of learning going on remotely. Who would have thought that you could make a base medrash in your own home?
This past year, we were zoched to be able to house and to give a home for over 30 students for a couple of months straight. The campus and the base medrash was their home away from home in terms of Gashmias and in terms of Ruchnias. The Rebbeim, the Yeshiva, and the Talmidim really benefited so much from that experience. Again, it's experience we'd rather not have been put in, but given the reality, it was something that was very special. And if you speak to the Talmidim that were there, it's something that they're going to take with them for the rest of their life, because they realize this is a place that you don't run away from. You always have a place to be.
Fortunately, after Pesach, my grandmother passed away from COVID, and the funeral and Shiva was very difficult, being remote, everyone had to be from distance, and we were successful in making a siyum on Shas Mishnayos, and we were wondering for Shloshim, how are we going to make a siyum? So we were thinking, okay, so we won't have Kaddish, we'll just say the Hadrans, and it's what it is. But then I didn't realize it. My cousin's son, Yonatan Gantro, he's in KBY this year. And he reached out to me on WhatsApp. He said, I'm here in Yeshiva in KBY, and I have a minion of guys. Do you want to do the siyum here? And I thought, whoa, it's a great idea. The great grandson of my grandma is in Yeshiva with the minion of guys that can make the Hadrans, can do the siyum of Shas V'Shayos properly. So that's what we did. Everyone logged into Zoom, and all the guys from KBY were there. He did the Hadrans, and then they said Kaddish, and it was unbelievable. My grandma, had a true, I think a much bigger Ilui Neshama because of what the guys at KBY were able to do. It's unbelievable.
We're in the safest position possible for us. After safety, definitely was caring about our happiness and just making sure that we were doing well. It was our break. The yeshiva didn't identify it as like, okay, you're here, you can stay here. They wanted us to have a good time. They wanted us to be able to have a relaxing time and enjoy ourselves and have a break. And then obviously they wanted us to grow. And that's why they brought in programmings. That's why we cleaned out the entire kitchen. We worked together on many projects of the dormitories or whatever. I never met a group of guys that would work so well together in cleaning up the dormitories and koshering a kitchen for Pesach. It was definitely a time of growth, definitely a time of a lot of learning about a lot of different things. I'm very blessed and thank God that I had this opportunity, and I really appreciate everything the yeshiva did for us, they do for us, and I'm really happy that they cared.
Keren B'Yavne for me is a way of life.
KBY is my family.
בית הגידול הרוחני.
Is our everlasting home.
הישיבה הכי טובה בעולם.